What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
Yesterday was my least favorite day, I think, on the calendar. It is NFL cut day, and over 900 players had to be told that, hey, you are not going to be here. Now, that doesn't mean that all 900 are not going to play in the NFL this year. There's going to be actually a pretty decent amount that find their way to a new team. Maybe they find their way to the practice squad and they can still live out that dream. I mean, there's multiple stories of guys that have been released and they go on. Hell, Peyton Manning got released one time, okay? Everybody almost that is anybody in the NFL has been released at least once in their career. But it was cut down day, and there was no like, hey, let's go from 90 to 70 to 53. It's like we're going straight from 90 plus to 53. So we see a lot of players that got released yesterday. Before we dive into the New Orleans Saints, Taylor, this feels like something that you probably eye hustled more than anybody here in this room. Give me maybe the biggest surprise NFL cut day around the league.
You know, we were talking about it earlier. It's probably Blake Ferguson at a long snapper. First off,
certainly for LSU. Well, I don't know, two LSU surprises. Terrace Marshall as well.
Terrace Marshall was a surprise. I think they would probably just do – that's probably in his benefit.
I would think.
I mean, he's never been able for whatever reason
to Carolina.
Yeah, to stay healthy. Their quarterback situation's awful. Their whole team's awful. But no, I mean, unless you're just like really bad, you're typically okay roster spot if you're a long snapper. So the fact that they let Blake Ferguson go, who by all accounts has been a really good long snapper, that was surprising.
Terrace Marshall, second-round pick. You're right. I mean, some ups, some downs, but he had a really good camp. And I was surprised that they released him, but probably, like you said, going to be the best thing for him. And we'll give you like a full list of some of the LSU players that did make the team. I know like Jaquelin Roy, unfortunately, he got released from the Vikings, and there's a lot of LSU players out there that, you know, got released yesterday. We'll give you that full list, but let's go ahead and dive into the New Orleans Saints. Biggest surprise for me was Jonathan Abram did not make this team, because if you'll remember, yesterday we had Nick Underhill, New Orleans Football, and I was like, hey, what's going on with Jordan Howden? Like, I just don't understand. No starters in the game, but he's out there playing 30-plus plays in the preseason, the finale there against the Titans, when no other starter. So I was like, well, maybe Jonathan Abram's going to find his way into that role. He was kind of valuable a year ago. He gets released, and so it's going to be Howden. I believe Will Harris also, he made the team. It was kind of a trio fighting for that starting spot. That one was a surprise to me. And it shows you what they really think about Mason Tipton, the fact that he has missed the last 3 weeks because of injury, and he still makes the team. It shows you maybe what they think of him, Taylor, and also kind of where they're at in that receiver room.
Well, they said he was going to play special teams, and that's what you need. I mean, Equinemius St. Brown, I know that's T-Bob's favorite name on the whole team. He's never been a special teams guy really at any point in his career, and are you going to keep a fifth, sixth wide receiver that's not going to help you out in other areas? Mason Tipton was a guy that was helping out, and that's why he made the squad.
Yeah, so St. Brown does get released. Nakua gets released. Stanley Morgan gets released at the receiver position. So Mason Tipton is on the squad for now. Remember, certainly now, but, you know, before you had about a 10-day period before you played the first game. Now you have much longer, and every team is going to be going through the waiver wire trying to find whatever their, you know, deficiency is. Like, where do we need to add to this team? So for the Saints, like, I think receiver is fully going to be a position where they scour the waiver wire. Maybe a Terrace Marshall could find himself in New Orleans. And look, if you look at what we were talking about yesterday with guys like Tim Patrick, okay, what did he bring that Mechie didn't from the Texans? He was different, right? He's 6'4", 220 pounds. Like, Terrace Marshall is a big body, so he would give you that different type of receiver that you're looking at. A couple of other cuts of names from the New Orleans Saints. We mentioned Lou Hedley yesterday. That was kind of an early one that we got at the punter position. James Robinson, veteran running back, who he had a flash. He had a season certainly early in his career with the Jags where it looked like he was going to be a mainstay with that team. He's kind of bounced around, went to the Giants, finds himself in New Orleans. he doesn't make the team. But really, outside of that, there's no real surprises for the New Orleans Saints. I think, again, you look at Jonathan Abram, him not making the team is my biggest surprise. Tipton making the team after being out for 3 weeks, probably my second biggest surprise. Lou Hedley has not been great. I don't really find that as a surprise, but I would fully expect New Orleans to be on the waiver wire. I'm sure it's already started. Taylor, if I said the Saints are going to add this position, how many? Because I would go receiver, I would go safety, and I would go a veteran, journeyman, offensive lineman that can be a swing, tackle, or guard would probably be the three things I think absolutely you'll see the Saints add.
Yeah, and it's funny. I would have said, easily safety and O-line are the top two. Receiver might be at the top of that list. Again, you mentioned it, O-line, but are there any game-changing O-linemen out there? There's some solid receivers that are out there that are up for grabs. Now, we mentioned Tim Patrick. He's been picked up by the Lions, but Terrace Marshall's out there. John Mechie's obviously a trade candidate. I mean, there's solid pieces, and I think you really need help at that wide receiver 3 spot.
I wonder right now what the conversations are about bringing in a veteran offensive lineman because, again, like this late in it, you're not going to find somebody that's going to go out there. He's not going to be the day one starter. It's not going to be somebody that you're like, hey, everything's fixed. Our bad offensive line because we got this guy. No, there's a reason why they got released. Either they haven't stayed healthy or their performance has not been great. But if you're the New Orleans Saints, like you have to have some insurance. Like you have to go out there and find someone that if you decide to roll the dice and go with Trevor Penning and it goes the way that it's gone throughout his early career, you got to have somebody you can at least say, hey, you know what? The ceiling's not that high, but my God, the basement's not that low. Okay? Because the basement with Trevor Penning, it's like in Oklahoma, Iowa, Nebraska, like Tornado Alley type basement. It's so far down there, okay? You have to get a little bit of protection. You keep Lucas Patrick. He looks like he's going to be the starting left guard. But, again, I would go get a swing guy because outside of Eric McCoy, you don't have anything else that you can kind of lean on to say, yeah, I feel really good about this. I feel like we can move into this 2024 season and be ready to go. So that would be a position that I think they're going to add. If you're thinking about the other receivers, by the way, if we go back to that position, A.T. Perry, of course, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Bub Means, and I got to give Taylor his credit, Cedric Wilson, somebody that you know him. He's a former Cowboy. You said when they signed him, and remember they had like a flurry of like kind of veteran 4 or 5 year receivers that they signed like kind of all in back-to-back days, and you said Cedric Wilson is going to be the best of the bunch. He's the only one that makes a team.
He's a good player. I mean, I saw him at a number of years in Dallas. I didn't like when they let him walk out of the door. He was a productive player at times with Miami. I mean, he's a veteran guy who's still on the younger side, who's been productive at multiple spots. That's more than you can say for Perry, Means, Mason Tipton, whoever else they have in that rotation. I thought it was an obvious choice, and, that's kind of been the first name mentioned when everybody said, oh, well, who's going to be wide receiver 3 behind Olave and Shaheed? Wilson's always kind of been the first name mentioned. I'm not surprised.
If we go down to the running backs that were retained on this roster, you had Alvin Kamara, surprise, Jamal Williams, and Jordan Mims. Now, Kendre Miller is somebody that we've talked a lot about. He actually is going to be on the IR to start the season. So, like we talked about yesterday, that's really not a surprise. That way you don't have to release him. They're not happy with him. We have played the Dennis Allen sound. They are not happy with Kendre Miller. They want more from him. All injuries are not the same injury. You got some that you just can't help, and some that the players trying like hell to get back. And he's in the training room every single day. He's doing everything that he's supposed to be doing to get back on the field, and you won't ever hear a coach throw a player under the bus. Kendre Miller's got tire tracks on from what Dennis Allen has said about him, like in the narrative and the tone of his voice. So, look, we're not there every day. I don't know if he's doing the right things, and Dennis Allen just for whatever reason wants to get in front of a microphone and do it that way. But it sounds like a player that he is frustrated with. He's like, hey, yeah, you're injured, but you're not hurt. Like, you should be out there. Like, you should at least give the effort to get out on the field because maybe you're not 100%, but we need you out there. That's what it feels like just kind of listening to the sound from Dennis Allen. They decide not to release him. He is on the IR, so there is a point in the season when he can come back. But I look at the running back position. You have AK, but he's not happy with his contract. He's missed time. You have Jamal Williams, who I love Jamal Williams, but Jamal Williams is a downhill runner. That's what he is. That's his skill set, so not a lot of versatility there. And then you've got a Jordan Mims who hasn't really played. Right, he's a guy that was a good college football player, but we haven't seen him in the NFL. So, not happy with his contract, injured, kind of a, I don't want to say one-dimensional because I think that's disrespectful to Jamal Williams, but he is what he is, and he knows thyself. And then a guy that's unproven, and so you decide to keep Miller, put him on the IR. Taylor, am I crazy to think that running back could be a position that they would add, certainly with the uncertainty of your best running back?
No, because yes, they technically have 5 on the roster. One's a fullback, one's Taysom Hill. So like you mentioned, it's Kamara, it's Mims, it's Jamal Williams. And how healthy is Kamara going to be? He's been banged up a lot these last couple of years. And look, I got free agency pulled up right now. Jake, there are a lot of cheap options out there. Last year, Damian Harris made $1.7 million. He's 27 years old. Matt Breida is out there. Kareem Hunt is out there. All 3 of those guys I just mentioned are under the age of 30. There's solid options out there that you could go sign. That is something I would keep an eye on. Eno Benjamin's out there, who's been in this building before. He's been a solid, second, third down back for a number of years out there in Arizona. There's some options out there.
Man, did you say Damian Harris?
Damian Harris.
Man, that's just another reminder. It is so hard to make it in the NFL.
And he's only 27 years old.
He was such a good college football player. He even had some moments in the NFL. It's already hard enough to make it and to get vested in the NFL. I'll always remind people this. Trent Richardson, who was the number 3 overall pick and also got traded for a first-round pick, fell a game short of being vested into the NFL benefits plan. Right? That's how hard it is to make it in the NFL in general, but certainly at that position. And there's some names out there, right? And I think if you look at your situation now, you've got other issues, receiver, offensive line, which we've talked about, but I don't think you can just assume at the running back position. AK's health and him being mad about where he sits with his contract is something to pay attention to. Again, we got more time before game 1, and I would fully expect the Saints to take a look, and not a young running back, a veteran running back, to add to that group because you did not get from Kendre Miller what you thought you were going to get.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the 2 guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.